Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this one, I just wanted to remind you to be aware of pocket watchers, okay? People, friends, but not only, also family members who feel entitled to your shit, okay? Whether it is your hard-earned money or whether, you know, it don't matter. You don't have to earn it. Perhaps you inherited it, or perhaps, you know, it was gifted to you. It really doesn't matter, as a matter of fact, okay? And I find that when you have not earned it, like, people feel even more entitled to it. Like, somehow they feel envious and they feel like you didn't deserve it. So be very, very mindful of this. Now, in my opinion and experience, there are two types of pocket watchers. They are really one and the same. There is a small difference between them, and I will explain as we go later into the video. Now, the first type is the type that hits you with faux concern, okay? People who pretend that they are concerned about your finances. So, you know, basically they are financial advisors, okay? Like, you didn't ask for anything, but these are the people who always like, oh, you spend too much, or like, you buy too much designer items. Why did you buy this Gucci bag? It's so expensive. Or you eat outside too much, or you go everywhere with Uber, you know, stuff like that. So it is disguised like as, you know, advice, as concern, but really in actuality it isn't. You know, these people just, you know, want you to, you know, be as they are, just as miserable as they are. They just feel envious and jealous that you have the means to spend as much. And the easy way to recognize them is by, you know, offering them things, right? I have found in my life some people who are always on my back about how much I spend, and at the same token, you know, when it comes to spending on them or for them, now they're not concerned anymore, okay? Their concern is nowhere to be found anymore, right? So if I take them to a really nice restaurant and I pick up the bill $200-300, like, they don't mind. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, this is a waste, you're spending too much money. Or, you know, if I offer to get them designer items or give them a designer items like a Gucci bag or something, then I'm also not, you know, spending too much. But when I'm getting stuff for me, myself and I, then I'm spending too much. And basically this is how you'll be able to tell, you know, somebody who is genuinely concerned about your finances from somebody who, you know, is just upset that you are able to do much more than them, you know, that you have much more disposable income than they do, right? Like, if somebody is genuinely concerned about your finances, even if you offer to get them something, they're going to be like, oh no, you know, that's way too expensive, girl, don't do that, I don't want that, you should invest it, you know, in XYZ. Now, if somebody is just mad that, you know, you have got a lot of coin to spend, then, you know, they're going to take it and they're going to be happy and they're going to say thank you. But when you're getting yourself stuff, then you're spending too much. I also want to touch on people who feel entitled to your shit. Now, be very mindful, tread carefully around entitled people, because entitlement is rooted in the self-belief that you can't get it yourself. So entitled people are very, very dangerous, because deep down inside they're insecure that they can't get, you know, something themselves. So they feel entitled to your stuff, to your shit, right? Now, I'm going to, y'all know I love working in story time into my video, so I'm going to tell you about the time a friend at the time, you know, borrowed money from me. Now, it was quite a lot of money, almost $3,000, and, you know, I wish I had not lent it to her. You know, looking back, don't lend money to friends, you guys, or family members, because it never ends well. You know, the truth of the matter is, you know, money, you know, kind of have a demonic spirit to it, and it just tends to destroy relationships, even between family members, talk less of friends. You know, she came to me asking for this money, and I was like, I was on the fence about it. I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, girl, I'm not sure this is a good idea. But, you know, she begged, she pleaded, she cried, and, you know, and back then, you know, I had no boundaries, okay, whatsoever. I was a people pleaser, a pushover of the worst kind, okay? So I just ended up giving it to her. We had agreed she would give it to me like 6 months down the line. So, you know, everything was fine and dandy, and the 6 months passed and she didn't give it to me. Now, because I didn't need that money, I mean, who doesn't need $3,000? Everybody does, but it's money that I was saving. So I was like, you know, I didn't need it as in, you know, for rent or for utilities or for groceries. That's what I mean by not needing it. So, you know, I let a month or two, perhaps even 3 months pass. I think like 9 months after, you know, the day she borrowed the money from me. I was like, okay, girl, it's about time for you to pay up. So I brought it up, you know, in a conversation, and I will never forget, you guys, like the disgust on her face as I brought up the money. I will never forget like how she was like, I can't believe you would bring this up. Like, I mean, after all, you have so much. And I was like, say what? Well, first of all, you is not my financial advisor. You don't know how much I have. I mean, you can think that, you know, you can believe I have much based on, you know, how much I spend. And again, this brings us back to people who are watching you, like literally, you know, counting your money, like because she was seeing me spend a lot or something or whatever, she just assumed like I had so much. You know, I ain't rich by any stretch. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not, you know, I don't have you know, Bentley truck money. I don't have private jet money. I don't have that type of money. Okay, I mean, I'm okay, I'm comfortable, I'm grateful for what I have, but you know, I'm not rich by any stretch of the mind. Okay, but she just felt like so entitled to my hard, you know, to my money. Like, it was crazy. I just felt like, huh, this is really, really mad. Like, I was quite upset about that and quite disgusted, you know, by that behavior. Like, it was the entitlement of it all for me. So, you know, we went back and forth about it a little bit, and I was so upset. I was like, girl, you know what? And she said, well, I said, you can just have it. You know, you have it. Clearly this money means a lot more to you than it does to me, so you can have it, right? Like, this is the price of our friendship. Keep in mind, you bought our friendship for this. Okay, so never ever call me again, never ever reach out to me again. Like, just keep this money and stay as far away from possible as me as you can. Now, in her defense, she did come back to me like a couple of months later and she wanted to start returning it, but I was like, you know, just keep it, do, you know, as we agreed on a couple of months ago. And you know, the crazy part is, you guys, like, I'm not even like, back then, sowieso, like, I didn't have any type of boundaries, so I was a total pushover. So had she just said, you know what, girl, I don't have it to give now, let me give you, you know, this 300, or let me give you this 200, let me give it to you like every month, let me give you 200, or let me give you 300 every month, it would have been fine by me. Or she could have just said, you know what, I don't have it now, I know, you know, I'm the one who said I would return it, but please bear with me. Like, I would have bared with her. Like, it wasn't even a big deal. I just thought, you know, it's about time I started asking her about it. But she was so nasty about it, again, so entitled about it, that I was like, yeah, this is it for me. This sounds crazy. So, you know, I wish people who borrow money would keep the same energy as when they come to borrow it, because when people come to borrow money, they're always begging, crying, but once you ask them for that money, babes, like, they switch on you. Okay, they bring a total new face. Like, you're like, who this, who is you, like, right? So I just, in this video, I just wanted to tell you guys, like, to remind you to be mindful of like people who feel entitled to your stuff. You know, try to recognize a user when you see one. This is very, very important if you're a giver, because givers have to set limits, because takers never do. So if you have friends who never like pick up their share of the tab and stuff, and this is a pattern, like not one time or two times, but this is something they do all the time, like, pay attention to this and start, like, when the waiter come and ask for the bill, you know, start just covering your share, let them cover their own shares, right? Like, we tend to do this thing, I touch on it like on the video, are you guilty of breaking your own heart? Like, we tend to do this thing called positive projection. Like, when we meet somebody and we get along with them, you know, we have similar interests, perhaps even a similar backstory, we tend to project our good qualities onto them. I know I tend to do this a lot. So we tend to think, oh, this person is so similar to me, like that they are also, so we think they're similar to us in everything. But a lot of the time, or oftentimes, that's not the case, right? So make sure you test every spirit. Don't just believe people like to be like you just because, you know, they are similar to you in the way that they talk or the way that they dress, or they have similar backstory to yours. Like, if you meet somebody new and you pick up the tab like once, twice, you know, if they don't offer to pick up the tab by the third time, make sure you ask for a separate like bill, so that you only cover like what you consume, and let them pay for what they consume. Like, I used to do this thing, I guess I'm still guilty of it from time to time, where I would always like pick up the bill, and I would think in the back of my mind, okay, like, the person I'm with is going to pick up the bill like the next time. But what my experience has been is that it don't be like that. You know, you be picking up the bill, picking up the bill, picking up the bill, picking up the bill, and they never like pick up the bill. So you have to get into the habit of, if you pick up the bill once or twice, like, by the third time, you know, if they're not trying to pick up the bill, just cover your share and let them cover their own share, especially if they were the one like to ask you out. Like, you know, you'll be dealing with people who say, girl, let us try this new bar, let us try this new restaurant, da, 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 blah, blah, blah. And then they're not, you know, they're not willing to cover, like, not even their own share. Like, I'm not even asking for anybody to invite me. That's okay, you know, I got me. But be willing, like, be ready to cover your own share. Or at least just pretend, you guys. Like, I can't believe people won't even, like, pretend. Like, I mean, act as if you were in a date, right? Like, when you go on a date, you at least pretend you're trying to pay on the first date. Like, can't you do the same thing? Like, can't you at least pretend? Because, you know, I do have some friends that I know don't have as much means as I do, and when I invite them somewhere very, very pricey, I know that I am the one who is going to pick up the tab. But, you know, I expect them to at least, you know, have as much decorum as, you know, being willing perhaps to cover their own share. You know, sometimes, not every time, but, you know, or sometimes when the activity is not like too pricey, or when the place is not like too expensive, when we just grab like 2 drinks or something, like, you know, invite me once in a while. That would be nice too. Like, everybody wants to, you know, be treated nicely. Like, nobody wants to feel like they are being used. So I wanted to remind you guys, you know, I hate the term empath, so the givers out there, to be mindful of that. You know, don't let yourself be used. Do not let, like, survivor's guilt, that's what we are going to close this video on, make you feel as if you owe people something, especially family members. If you were the first black woman in your family to go to college, or to have a successful business, or to marry well, whatever, however you came up with the money, like, don't let other people make you feel as if you owe them something, even if, you know, they're like, you're related to them by blood, because, you know, not every family member is actually family. But that's another subject, like another video for another day. We can get into that on Thursday, right? So don't let them guilt trip you into thinking you owe them something. If you move out of the hood or something, don't let these people guilt trip you into feeling like you owe them something, especially if you work really, really hard to get where you are, right? Like, they are exactly where they want to be. Remember that, okay? Do not forget that you sacrifice a lot to be where you are. You have to work really, really hard to be where you are. So don't let people who didn't do the same make you feel like you owe them something. Now, if you want to give, like, from your heart, if you really felt led by God to do that, then by all means do that. But don't let people who have not put in as much work as you have, and were nowhere to be found as you were putting said work, make you feel as if you owe them something. You don't owe them jack shit, okay? Remember that, you guys. Do not forget. But that's all I had on this video. I apologize that this video was a little bit all over the place. I was kind of rambling, but I'm sure you guys got the point. If you enjoyed it, regardless, do not forget to give it a thumbs up in the comment section down below. Let me know, you know, what is your experience with envious friends, you know, friends who are envious of the financial position that you are in, and, you know, mask it up then in full concern, even though if you were to be like homeless after tomorrow, they wouldn't let you stay on their couch. I say stay out of people's financial business. You is not their financial advisor. Like, I don't give people any form of financial advice unless if you come for me asking like for money from me or staying on my couch. Obviously, if I have seen that you have engaged in poor spending in the past and now you want money from me, I will, you know, lecture you kind of and tell you, you know, perhaps you should spend less on Sarah. But as long as you're not asking anything of me, hey, you do what works for you, okay? Do not forget to subscribe to my channel as well, and I will be back on Thursday 7:30, you guys. I always say 4 p.m, but by the time these videos are up, it is not 4 p.m. in America. It's more like 7:30, I guess. It is midnight in Germany, so it's also midnight in England, and I believe it is 7:30-ish in America. Anyways, I'm just rambling. Bye, guys. Mwah.